Hello and welcome to another episode of the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Connor Moreno, lead writer for UCLA Bruins on SI. And today is Tuesday night. You're listening to this on Wednesday. And UCLA basketball as a whole had a really big day. Women's basketball, number 3 in the nation, got a big win. And number 15 men's basketball team got a pretty big win considering the type of season they've had so far. Both teams are now 3-0, and they're heading into the depths of conference play. I think each of them have a pretty sizably, competitive non-conference schedule. So today we're just going to talk about the games that they had, recap them a little bit, what we saw, some takeaways, and kind of see what's going on moving forward. So let's go ahead and start with the women's basketball team. The women's team probably had the biggest win of the day. They went to Sacramento to play in the Golden One Center where the Kings play, and they played against number 6 Oklahoma. They came out with a 73-59 win, pretty dominant win. First half was pretty competitive, but UCLA kind of took control and kind of dominated in the second half to get the win. UCLA transfer wing Gianna Neepkins showed out, erupted for 20 points on 8 of 14 shooting. She really showed just how valuable of a transfer addition she was this offseason. UCLA just really didn't have someone that could scorch the net like she did tonight and also turn around on the other side of the court and play some pretty good lockdown defense. So Neepkins was super huge for the Bruins today, especially considering that Lauren Betts had her hands full with pretty much her only one of her only competitions and competitive matchups in college basketball. Reagan Beers, they're two of college basketball's biggest stars, and they battled together tonight. I don't think their offense was as good as normal, but that's because both of them are two defensive stalwarts and really dominated each other in the paint. Lauren Betts finished with just 9 points and committed 7 turnovers, shot 4 for 11 from the field. But, the defensive players that they are, she made up for it. She grabbed 10 rebounds and blocked 4 shots. On the other side of the ball, Reagan Beers also struggled from the field, shot 2 for 7 for just 7 points. But she snagged 14 rebounds and 2 steals, and down the stretch of the game, she hurt her knee, but, toughed it out, came back, and tried to finish the game. Obviously, UCLA came out with the win, and I think it was a pretty emphatic statement win for the Bruins. Their first 2 games were against some lowly, meddling opponents, but they came out, played against the number 6 team in the nation, and kind of staked their claim as one of, if not the best teams in the nation. Another quick storyline from the women's basketball team before we get into the men's game is that Bruins star freshman Sienna Betts still remains out with a lower leg injury, but she's out of her walking boot, and she was there on the bench, looked pretty healthy. As you know, Sienna Betts was the number 2 freshman in the nation, and UCLA played against the number 1 freshman in the nation, Aaliyah Chavez. She scored 11 points, but struggled from the field, was 4 of 16 shooting. She couldn't quite find her shot, but I think she made up for it. She had a pretty decent game. She didn't commit a single turnover, which, freshmen are kind of prone to turnovers. But yeah, it was a good outing for her, and I'm sure she's going to bounce back from it. Last thing, Angela Dugalich, she posted 16 points, 15 rebounds, and 3 steals off the bench. Was kind of UCLA's unsung hero of the night, and she had a really good game. So it was an all-around effort. Lauren Betts might struggle on the surface, but she was plenty impactful, just as she is always. This game started UCLA's pretty daunting non-conference schedule. I mean, after this, they take on number 11 North Carolina on Thursday, and then after that they play against USF and Southern, but then they go back to Vegas to play in the Players Era tournament against number 4 Texas. After that game, regardless if they win or lose, they're either playing against number 15 Duke or number 2 South Carolina, so it is a jam-packed tournament. Everyone should have their eyes on that. And then to round out November, they play against number 12 Tennessee, and then the next game they start Big Ten play against Oregon. So it was a pretty crazy non-conference schedule for UCLA, I would say. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into UCLA's win. They played against West Georgia. If you haven't heard about West Georgia, I wouldn't blame you. It's their second season playing Division I basketball, but UCLA desperately needed a win like the one they had against West Georgia. They came out, won by 21 points, 83-62, and they desperately needed it because their last two games, they kind of left a lot to be desired. I mean, Eastern Washington, they opened the season against them, winning by 6 points, and then they turned around against Pepperdine, kind of found their footing, but only won by 11 points. So you kind of needed this game where you were controlling the opponent, and you came out with a pretty big win. But it did not come without their signature struggles that we've seen throughout the season. Now, granted, star point guard Donovan Dent was out. He had a muscle strain, and Mick Cronin said that they only kept him out just because it was precautionary and they want to get him right for Arizona on Friday, which Cronin said that he likely will be there on Friday. Pardon me. So yeah, Cronin said that he will likely play on Friday. But let's get into the recap of the game. With Donovan Dent out, UCLA had some people step up. Tyler Bilodeau finished with 21 points, 4 rebounds on 7 of 12 from the field. Many wondered who would step up in Dent's place as far as controlling the game, playmaking, kind of scoring. But it was Trent Perry, sophomore backup guard. Trent Perry came in, scored 17 points, grabbed 5 rebounds, dished out 9 assists, only committed 2 turnovers. I'm going to be honest, I mean, I haven't made this known, but I'm a big fan of Trent Perry's game. Just seeing him these first few games of the season, I think he is really, taking a leap in his sophomore season, and I feel like that he could definitely impact and raise UCLA's floor, especially later in the season once he finds his footing and once he's a bit more comfortable and once he's a bit more confident. Mick Cronin talked a lot about his confidence, and I think a game like this with Donovan Dent out and being relied on as your primary playmaker, and he just comes out and puts out a really good game like this, it's really good for his confidence. So really big game from Trent Perry. Looking forward to see what he can do coming off the bench or alongside Dent. I know it's a little bit more difficult alongside Dent just because he's not handling the ball as much, but I still think his game really lends itself to being really good on or off the ball. Eric Daly Jr. Also started the game, his second game of the season, finished with 14 points. Jamar Brown off the bench came in and sunk 2 really big three-pointers in the first half, finished with 10 points and 5 rebounds. West Georgia fought. West Georgia, especially their wing, Brady Hardawig, finished, they were just scorching the net from deep. Hardawig finished with a career-high 14 points. He started 4 for 4 from the field, but overall West Georgia was shooting the lights out from deep. I think they finished with 13 threes, but most of them came in the first half, which is why it was so close. Also because UCLA, they went on a 4-minute stretch to close out the first half where they couldn't make a shot. So that also makes sense. But I do think that UCLA desperately needed a game like this, especially because the last 2 games left a lot of people with a sour taste in their mouth. Now, if we want to talk about Arizona, I'm not too sure that UCLA is ready to take on a ranked opponent in their current state. They haven't really played a game that gives me enough confidence in them. But we'll see. Maybe they're just playing down to their opponents. Maybe that's going to be the type of team that they are this season. I sure hope not, because you really don't want to fall into that trap. But they're 3-0. They came out with wins. There were some good. There also were some bad. But we're going to find out exactly what type of team UCLA is on Friday against Arizona, number 5 ranked team in the nation, by the way, Arizona. So that's all we have for you today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast, and we'll see you tomorrow.